and welcome back to the newest edition of the Perpetual Protocol Community Call. This is now episode 25, which is a pretty big milestone. We've been doing this now for over a year and already up to 25 episodes. And it's really great to see everybody again. Today on the call, we're actually missing two of our regular guests, but never fear, we have some new faces as well. So Hannah and Anwar are out today, but we do have, as usual, Leonie. Hi, Leonie.
Hi, good to be back.
Yeah, great to see you again. And we have a new guest, Andrew, who is on our business development team. Hi, Andrew.
Hey, guys. Looking forward to my first time on the call.
Yeah, really great to have you. And back again, we have our co-founder, Yen-Wen. Thanks again for joining us, Yen-Wen.
Hey, yeah, nice to be here.
Yeah, excellent to have you again. All right, so just to start, I want to mention to everybody the OAT. We'll have an OAT for this call. And if you're interested in getting that OAT NFT, the first thing you want to do is make sure that you've joined our Discord already. So we'll paste the Discord link in the chat. If you haven't already joined our Discord, please do that now or do it at some point during the call. And later on in the call, we'll explain more about how to actually get on the whitelist for the NFT, but it will involve using our Discord. So make sure you join that. All right. Okay, with that out of the way, let's get into the topics for today. We have a bunch of very interesting things to share, so pretty excited for that. I'll just share my screen. All right, so we're looking now at issue number 28 of our newsletter. Okay, so yeah, we have a bunch of interesting features, and including the sort of one major feature that we've been working on all during Q1 of this year. And we've already talked to you guys about it quite a lot, but finally it's out. Maybe some of you have already had a chance to try it. I hope so, and we're looking forward to your feedback. So the feature I'm talking about is multi-collateral. Now this is something that's been requested since the early days of our version 1, and finally now we have actually launched this new feature. And so far we only launched with one collateral option, which is ETH. So you can use either ETH or wrapped ETH, WETH, as collateral. And in the coming weeks, we will be working hard to add more collateral types, and there's some really interesting news that goes along with that as well. So I just will quickly stop sharing my screen and share my screen again. Hold on, so you can actually get a look at this, what this looks like. If you haven't seen it already, I'm sure some of you have seen it already, but I'll do a little quick introduction just to let you know exactly like what all the parts do. All right, so on the sort of main homepage of app.purp.com, you'll see now it's there's a bunch of changes. The biggest change, obviously, is now you can deposit different types of collateral. So instead of clicking on this sort of colored card in the middle to deposit, now you have different deposit options for each type of collateral. And we'll be adding new options, like I say, in the coming weeks. So I'll look forward to that. Also, if you have some sort of favorite collateral type or some suggestion that you think is good, definitely let us know. We're happy to hear your feedback about what types of collateral you want to use. We already had some people requesting like USDT as well as DAI. So these are two interesting collateral types. I'm not sure they'll get added right away. We have a few others on the roadmap ahead of that, but yeah, we'll be able to have a bunch of different options for this. So basically all you need to do is click on deposit and then deposit a certain amount of however you want, whatever amount you want of this token. Now it's important to note that each token will also have a weight. So depending on the volatility of the token, it'll be assigned a weight. And this basically determines how much of that token's value you can actually use as collateral. So if I deposit 1 ETH, I'll be able to use 0.825 of its value when I'm making trades. So 1 ETH won't necessarily allow you to trade up to 1 ETH's worth of value, although of course there's leverage to consider. And each of these weights will be determined based on the volatility of the given token and other factors like liquidity. Another very important thing to keep in mind is, let's say you deposit only non-USDC tokens, and then you do some trades and you get some PNL. Maybe it's a negative. If it's a negative PNL, or you also have some like fees that you paid, trading fees, and also some funding payments that you may have paid. So let's say you have paid some funding payments, you paid some fees, and you've also got a negative PNL. You'll notice this amount here will be negative for the USDC, even if you're not using USDC. Basically, this means that those fees that you've accumulated need to be paid back in USD because they're charged in USD. So you'll see like a negative number for this amount. And it's very important to not allow this negative number to exceed 10,000 because you could face liquidation at that point. And actually, I'm curious, Yanwan, maybe you know the answer to this. Will that 10,000 limit be raised at some point, or are we planning to keep that?
That will be raised. That will definitely be raised. Yep.
Okay, so it's just a security measure at this point?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just.
Excellent, because we did have some community members asking, you know, if that 10,000 US dollar limit would, you know, be enforced forever. They felt like maybe it was a little bit small, but we're starting out conservatively. So as time goes by, we will be increasing that. Okay.
Yeah, I think the goal is like 10% of the total kind of like a collateral size. So I mean, there's still like room to grow. Yep.
Okay, excellent. So yeah, stay tuned for updates on that. We'll be updating that as we go along. All right, so let's go back to the newsletter. Yeah, so like I say, we'll be adding new collateral types going forward. And the next one that we plan to add is frags. And there should be some interesting partnership opportunities as well that we'll be announcing. And yeah, in general for this feature, we'll have a Q&A session later. So welcome to bring any questions that you have forward. Or of course, as always, you can come to our Discord or Telegram and ask any questions. We'll be glad to answer those for you. All right, so moving on to the next thing here, let's see. So for new markets, we've basically only listed one market in the last sprint, which was Ape, which has had some pretty exciting volatility. So be careful out there. Basically, the reason that we've slowed down a little bit with the market listings is to focus more developer resources on putting out these, like for example, multi-collateral. There was a big push to get that out. We're also focusing on new tokenomics development, as well as the limit orders system. So we're sort of in a major push to get these big features out. And for that reason, the listing schedule will be slowed down a little bit. Another major feature that it's not such like a huge feature, but it's definitely a highly requested feature is the funding rate date picker. I won't actually show you it right now, but finally, that more funding rate data is available. We already sort of have the basic chart available on app.purp.com. And now there's the option to both export those charts as a CSV file if you want to do some more number crunching on it. And you can also choose the time frame that the data shows. So that's super useful. Prior to this, you could basically only see 1 week worth of data or even less. It was just a few days and it wasn't really that flexible. So that's a great news for people doing basis trading and other, other people keeping close track of the funding rate. All right, so I'll move on to marketing and partnerships. And as you know, a couple weeks ago, we had a bunch of our team members at Dev Connect. Leonie, you want to give like a quick roundup of that?
Yeah, sure. So 6 of our team members, including me, were in Amsterdam. I think it was like 1 or 2 weeks ago now. And there were a lot of like interesting talks, panels, also the ETH Amsterdam hackathon over the weekend. So it was a great time. And I think some of you may have watched the last community call where we showed the like co-working space, which was a great venue. And our content writer did like an overview in our latest blog post about everything that happened and kind of like what were the talks on ETH Day, DeFi Day, future of ETH staking, some hackathon projects. So yeah, I encourage everyone to go read it. It's super insightful. Even for me, I was there, but I couldn't go to all the talks. So you can watch some of them on streameth.tv if you're interested in some of them.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm so jealous. I really hope I can make it to the next event. I'd love to meet some of our users in person. So I'm sure that was a really awesome time.
Yeah, it was also great to meet team members since a lot of
Yes.
us are working remotely, and also just network with other projects. It was super interesting.
Awesome. All right. Yeah, definitely looking forward to the next ETH related event. Just go back to the share screen. All right, so moving along. Yeah, and also just encourage people who, if you're not so into watching the last community call over again, you can also check out the blog post that our marketing team made about the Dev Connect. There's a bunch of cool information in there about the event and various things that went on. So moving on is the name, which no one is really too sure how to pronounce, although I believe looking at a YouTube video of one of the co-founders, it's Thales. Leonie, do you want to talk a little bit about this?
Yeah, sure. So about Thales, if we pronounce it right, it's a binary options protocol, also on Optimism. They're based on synthetics. And you can basically make directional bets. And they also have a market for Purp available now. That's why we had this partnership with them, where we gave away 50 Thales Royale passes, where you can sign up for their events, which are kind of like games or battles, where you make a directional bet on an asset price and you compete against other players. So we did give away 50 buy-ins for those events. That's
really cool. I love how like projects in the DeFi space are so cooperative and just like to work together instead of seeing each other as competitors somehow. I think yeah, there's such a large amount of room to grow that such a great atmosphere of cooperation. All right. A second here. Okay, so continuing on. Yeah, we have a very covert program that was launched sort of on the down low a few days ago. And it was even a surprise to me and a very exciting one. So Andrew, do you want to share a little bit about Purp Covert?
Yeah. So this is actually one of my favorite current initiatives we have, although I'm a little biased because it came from marketing and BD. But the purpose with the program was to essentially accumulate a group of engaged traders. And we'll be providing each of them with 1,000 USDC to trade with, essentially. And what they'll do is they'll be posting about their trades and their experience on their own social medias and in front of their followings. And they will also have the ability to collaborate amongst themselves in a covert and secret group to hopefully maximize profits and such. So another benefit of getting accepted into this is you also automatically get upgraded to the highest VIP tier in our referral program, which for those that don't know, include 80% fee rebates and up to $3,500 a week from each trader you onboard. So it's a very lucrative tier of the referral program to be a part of. And so if you are interested or anybody is interested in participating, although round one has been closed, we are looking to open up more rounds in the future, and we'll be posting those on Twitter and across all of our social media channels.
Yeah, so it's too late for round one, but definitely keep your eye open for round two if you didn't make it into round one. Yeah, pretty cool program. And I noticed already on Discord, there's like a secret group just for the Purp Covert gang. So definitely keep a lookout for round 2, guys. All right, so moving on. Yeah, there's actually a lot of really big news to share this time. So the next thing is the Optimism Collective, which was announced about 24 hours ago, which is a pretty cool thing. And I think no one's really surprised. Like, they announced the token, and obviously they're going to have more plans for their token. And so now they've got this Optimism Collective, which is basically a plan to build out an ecosystem or to continue building out the ecosystem around optimism. And of course, we are a major part of that ecosystem. And yeah, really looking forward to continuing our journey with optimism, including this new ecosystem fund. So obviously, a lot of people are going to want to know, like, oh, what kind of funds are we going to be getting as part of the ecosystem? What are we going to do with it? This is still sort of in the planning phase, but definitely our focus has always been to make perpetual protocol the best place to trade. And in general, that means having really deep liquidity. So it's very likely that most of this ecosystem fund chunk of tokens will be devoted towards increasing liquidity. And yeah, we're still in discussion with Optimism, and also in our having internal discussion about the future of this. So stay tuned for that.
Actually, we posted a proposal in Optimism forum. So I mean, like that's one of the requests that we will get like some of the OP token, and then we will, there are like different ways we are going to help them distribute those tokens, and then help bring more people onto Optimism, and also, I mean, like using perpetual protocol. So yep, so we already have a request for that. I mean, we'll be sharing like on Twitter, like maybe in a day or two. So once it get passed. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So yeah, if anyone's on the Optimism Governance Forum, definitely go check that out. You can get some early access to the info. Yeah, really looking forward to more cooperation with Optimism. I think it's a really exciting time for L2, and it's amazing to be a part of it. So super excited. All right, moving right along. Looking at the upcoming 2 weeks of this current engineering sprint, we will be adding some more markets. But like I say, we have slowed down a little bit on the speed of adding new markets, but it will continue. We also are continuing work on our tokenomics. We'll have a little bit more to say about this going forward. We'll also be adding more wallet support. So if you're not like a huge fan of MetaMask, which I mean definitely has its detractors, you'll have some more options in the near future, which is great news. All right, and a major marketing program that we have going on right now, which you are probably aware of already, is our onboarding program part 2. So we had part 1 last, I guess it was in December, maybe January, several months ago, and now we're running part 2. Most of you have probably already heard of it, and as you're aware, obviously onboarding is to onboard new people. So if you're already an experienced user, it's not really targeted at you. However, if you have friends who want to join, definitely let them know. And if you're having any trouble reaching the 30-point limit, you can also hit us up in Discord to ask for some help. We're happy to do that and make sure that you get some new friends onboarded and trying out our platform. All right, the next thing is a Twitter space that we have planned with Galaxy. Galaxy has some really exciting news. So Leonie, do you want to share about that?
Yeah, sure. So I guess a lot of you are already familiar with Project Galaxy, because every time we give out oats or NFTs, we usually cooperate with them. And they had a big announcement for themselves because they are launching their token GAL tomorrow, I think, May 5th. So we will have a Twitter space with them later tonight or early tomorrow, depending on where you are, with their head of BD, Bob Tien. And we're just going to chat with them about like the token launch and all things Project Galaxy, basically. And like a hint, if you participated in the Christmas campaign that we had with them and you collected 10 out of 12 of the NFTs, I think you could claim the Galaxy Girl and Reindeer NFT, and holders of that NFT will get an airdrop for the GAL token. So you might check that one.
I have a feeling a lot of our users did go for that because at the time, like we had a huge group, a huge number of people asking about this thing. So we definitely have some very enthusiastic users who were trying to grab that NFT, and obviously they had the right idea. I personally missed out on it. All right, moving on. We're already at about 20 minutes, so let's keep this train going. Yeah, we also have some more governance proposals. They've been coming pretty fast and furious these days, and the most recent one, which is actually currently in active voting right now, is the fee distribution. Yewan, do you want to talk a bit about this?
Sure. Yep. So this is actually a new proposal that from Sims Holding. So what it's about is that we have this like V2 tokenomic, and I mean the community has asked us for a long time that what's the plan to distribute that revenue? To the token holder maybe, or to the DAO, or like how are we going to do with it? So this vote is actually so there are like three parties of our platform. They are like takers, they are makers, and then there are also like token holders. So for these three votes, actually just want to make a decision on how the fees will flow. Between all these three, participants. Yeah, and so CMS actually make a good post on that, and then they have a suggestion like how we should distribute that. So definitely, if you're interested, definitely please take a read, and then of course that it's on Snapshot right now, so you can actually go ahead and vote on that.
Awesome, thanks. And yeah, that's definitely really exciting. Obviously, since the very beginning of the project, people have been looking forward to this fee sharing. Yeah, so really looking forward to that. All right, there's another segment about partnership proposals, specifically a proposal that we're working on with Terra. Yohan, do you want to mention something about that? Sure. Yep. So I actually think this is a really big one, although it's like 2 lines, but 3 lines. But so TFL, we work with them. So why we want to have like this multi-collateral? The first thing is that, of course, we want to increase the capital efficiency. So if you have like tokens other than USDC, you can still trade perpetual system. So I think that's very good. But the second thing is that we actually want to incorporate like different kinds of stablecoin. There are like new ones like UST, Flax. They are doing really well. It's it's not as centralized as USDT or others. So I think this is actually we want to actually have this kind of like tokens in our system. So this is actually the first step. So we do the token swap with TFL Foundation, and then we will actually use those UST we got, and then use that for the rewards. So we are going to, previously we give out like maker rewards using Purp token, but after the swap, we'll actually give out UST instead of Purp token. Of course, like it probably will be like a portion of that will be Purp token, but another portion will be UST. And then also at the same time, we got OP token. So, and the other portion of that will be OP token. So we will drop like different kinds of token to kind of like increase the yield that the maker can get. And also at the same time, we want to incentivize people using UST to trade on our platform. So I think that's actually a lot of things like connect together. But I think this is actually a really good, kind of like a nice step for us to actually tap into like other community, and of course we have like the new tokenomic V2, the
KFL Foundation, they can use the Purp that they hold and then to vote to direct the fees to the US key, token holder who use US key as the collateral. Yeah, that's a long line. Okay. Anyway, yeah, I think this it's a little bit complex, but it's really good that we can work with like KFL Foundation.
Yeah, it's definitely really amazing. Anyway, it didn't sound too complicated to me, but if people have questions about it, feel free to ask. But basically, the gist is that, yeah, we're able to form these very interesting partnerships and have some synergies with different projects like Terra and Frax as well. So yeah, super exciting. Looking forward to that coming online. And I'm sure all the LPs are as well, since it can increase the type and maybe the amount of rewards that they can get for their very hard work as liquidity providers and makers on our platform. All right, so moving on, we've got a few updates to share with the grants program. So I'll pass it over to Andrew.
Yeah, so this is coming out of our grants program, as Lee mentioned, but we now have an active liquidity strategy simulator, which basically, as you can imagine from the name, gives anybody the ability to test out any strategy that they may want to try against historical performance of any of the Purp pairings. So, I've been using it and been playing around with it, and I've gotten as close to profitable as 4% and as far from profitable as about 92% losses. But I think it's a really great way to test through like LP is pretty complex. So it's a really nice way to test any of your strategies against some of the previous markets. So as you're doing so, we would love any and all feedback that comes from this. It's really helpful in terms of building this and crafting it to make sure that it can just be as effective as possible. And Lee is sharing it right now, but Lee, if you scroll down, that's the general interface, and it gives you some pretty good insight in basically anything that I would have needed.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. There's definitely a lot of tools here. People should dig into this. I will give a small warning. The interface is a rather bright green, and I'm actually using like a dark mode plugin right now. So it looks, I would say with the dark mode plugin, it's a little bit better. But it's definitely a very lively interface and tons of tools. So come and check it out. If you have any questions or feedback, like Andrew mentioned, let us know. We're really happy to hear from you, and we'll pass the questions and comments along to the developer, the community developer who created this for us. So really awesome tool. All right. Let's see what's next on our agenda here. Yeah, that's about it. I guess the last thing we would mention is the further reading section, which Leonie has added for us here. Let me just, I'm not actually sharing the screen right now, hold on. Leonie, do you have any like particular selections in the further reading that you want to mention?
Yeah, well, in general, we started to just add all articles that we published in the newsletter just to have a better overview. And I think as like the big feature launch is multi-collateral. And if you want to learn a bit more about it, I suggest reading the What is Multi-Collateral article, because it gives kind of the base to understand the more complex things about it. So I would suggest you go from there and then read about what goes on with the weighting factor and all that Lee explained before.
Yeah, there's definitely some things to understand before you jump into multi-collateral. So I'd highly recommend this article here. We'll also be updating our docs to address multi-collateral as well, but we're still working on that. Oops. All right. Yeah, definitely having this further reading section is pretty helpful. Like sometimes over the 2-week period, there can be some articles that we miss, and I know it definitely happens to me. So great to have this roundup. Okay, so that's the end of the newsletter, and just remind people if they want to get the oat, they need to have joined our Discord, and I'll just take a look at the chat here. I know there's some people who were saying maybe that they're having some trouble with the Discord. I guess not too much. Yeah, so if you are in our Discord right now, to be able to claim the oath, what you need to do is find the channel which is called NFT Verify. You should see the channel NFT Verify under Community Call. And you'll see in that channel, there is a verification bot. And if you click on the verification, you'll notice that it requires a password. So the password is, everybody ready? So the password is 77553311. So 77553311. And once you've entered that password, it will verify you. Once you are verified, you will see yet another channel in Discord called NFT Whitelist. So go to NFT Whitelist, and in that channel, just paste your address where you want to receive the oath, and that will be the whitelist. So just go to that NFT whitelist channel, post your address, and you'll be on the whitelist. Yeah, if you don't have the password, it is 77553311. So everybody go and try that. And we'll move on to the Q&A session. So let me just scroll back and see what kind of questions we had. All right, most of the questions so far were about what is the password. So the password once again is 77553311. I tried to choose a password that wasn't too hard, so hopefully everybody can get that. All right. Okay, so the first question that we have from Peng Zhen Yi, sorry if I don't pronounce your name correctly, is how to reduce the risk of providing liquidity to earn rewards. Now that's a really excellent question, and I would say probably not an easy question to answer. Yewen, do you have any comments about that?
Yeah, that's a great question. There are several ways. I think the most conservative ways is that you can actually place your liquidity, across the whole curve. So as you know, Uniswap is, it's kind of XYK curve. You can actually place your liquidity, just like a spread across the curve. So it will become actually like Uniswap V2, and the impairment loss will be smaller. I think that's definitely one thing. So in our UI, you can actually, to just try to place it at the really large range, or just across the curve. I think that's one thing. The second thing is that the scale. In our UI, we have this new UI. So once you want to place liquidity, you can actually pick that, you actually have a long view or short view on this token. I think that's also one way. Either way, I think it's just you probably need to do some research and, know what you are doing. Research is a little bit hard. Of course, you have to read some document. Do some experiment. But I would say that building your own kind of a strategy is really rewarding. Once you have that, you can actually trade for using that for a long time. And okay, so that's one part. The second part is that we are actually working with other partners trying to build this vault. So you can just provide your liquidity into that vault, and then they will, using their own strategy. Some people hedge it, some people using, placing a different range and then do a dynamic adjustment to the liquidity. So, just different ways. But we were working with those partners, and then build those kinds of the vaults, and then you can actually deposit. So actually Obama has that, but they have a cap, so it's not possible right now. But that's actually one of the examples that we have. Yeah.
yeah, there'll definitely be more options coming out in terms of automated strategy providers. But at this point, I think they're all still in the testing phase, either testing their strategies or like Brahma is sort of a limited beta. So really, at the moment, you're looking at manual strategies, and a lot of people might use like options to create a kind of straddle or other sorts of exciting structures. But it's definitely, if you want to do it with the minimized risk, it's definitely pretty tricky. You have to, really work at creating a strategy. But we have a channel in our Discord about market making and liquidity provision. So if you have any questions, you can come and chat about it in there. We'll be really happy to chat with you about it. Okay, so I'm just going to say the password again for anybody who didn't hear the password the first time to verify in the NFT verify channel. The password is 77553311. Once you verified, you're going to see another channel, which is called NFT whitelist. Just paste your address in there. And I see actually a lot of people already pasted their address. So just paste your address in there and you'll be on the whitelist. All right. Let's see if we have any other questions here. Yeah, someone actually mentioned, and I noticed this too, is they went to vote and they noticed that there's a whale with 4 million Purp who voted. Do we have any idea like who that might be? Or just a big holder?
I personally don't know. No.
Okay.
I mean, the team don't vote. So even we have token, I mean, like we have token in the foundation. I mean, but I mean, like we just want to be neutral. I mean, it's a community suggestion, so it's not from the team. Of course, I think they are whales. I mean, holding Purp token, and then they vote, and but I mean. At least for now, we still like both go by this like voting mechanism and just like other projects. Yep.
Yeah, I don't think any team member has 4 million Purp that I'm aware of. but I'm guessing with 4 million, that would maybe be one of the investors, possibly somebody with a large amount of token that was an early participant in the project, and people who still care a lot about the project and have a major stake. But yeah, great question. And that is one of the sort of amazing things about on-chain voting, or at least voting using on-chain, or voting using signatures from wallets that hold the token. It's all out there in the open for everybody to see. All right. So the next question we have is, what protocols will integrate with Purp? For example, some farming or yielding protocols. That's a great question. I guess Yenwan kind of answered a little bit earlier. I think for farming and yielding, that is basically the automated strategy providers that we mentioned earlier. So because liquidity providing provision and market making on perpetual protocol is a little bit more complicated than a typical AMM pool, it requires sort of an active strategy, and that's why you haven't seen the sort of really simple farming and yield protocols popping up just yet, but they're definitely coming in the future, so keep an eye out for that. Okay, just all right, so another great question from Crypto Ocean Base, who's got a lot of these great questions, is the tools that Purp is providing are very professional. On the other side, they are too difficult to use. So being integrated with a simple product would be a good idea. Now, we definitely agree with this 100%. In general, perpetual contracts, whether it's on perpetual protocol or on other platforms like FTX, are not really the sort of basic type of trading for most retail traders. They definitely involve a little bit more skill, a little bit more risk, appetite. So definitely yeah, so far things have been mostly targeted towards really professional traders or pro retail traders and also institutional traders. We do sort of have a vision that things will be a little easier to use in the future. Definitely a major part of the strategy is the limit orders and stop orders that we're developing right now. And another part of that strategy is those partnerships with automated strategy providers. So things are heading in that direction of being simpler to use, but for sure at this sort of early stages that we're in right now, things are geared more towards really pro users that already know what they're doing. But yeah, definitely a great point to raise. Okay, let's see. So Crypto Ocean Base also asked what the vault name that was just mentioned. I think it's Brahma, B-R, I actually can't remember how to spell it exactly. B-R-A-H-M-A, I guess, is that right?
Yeah, I think that's it.
Okay. Somebody also guesses that the whale is probably CMS. I guess that's a possibility. I mean, it was their proposal, so they may be wanting to vote for that. Okay, there's still people asking to say the password again. No problem. The password is, everybody ready? 77553311. Hopefully that'll be easy to remember. And Mostani says, go to the Persian channel and he'll send the password there. Oh. Yeah, I mean, everybody should know the password at this point. All right, so that's all the questions from YouTube. I'm just gonna head over to Discord and see what kind of questions we have there. We do actually have a couple of questions, and the first is from the amazing Persian moderator, Mostani, and the question is, do we have a program for multi-language site? And that's a great question. Actually, as far as I know, the site is already available in English and Chinese. At some point in the future, we will probably add more languages, but we feel like really for the time being, most of our users are comfortable using either English or Chinese for trading. But yeah, we definitely want to add more languages in the future. It's just not the top priority at this time. The next question we have from Max Perlo is, what kind of projects do we want to collaborate with in the future? I guess basically any project that's, we can have a mutual benefit between our two projects would be really great. As I said, our major focus right now is on liquidity, increasing the depth of our liquidity. So, obviously the top priority for collaborations will be with projects that can bring liquidity or help us drive growth in liquidity in one way or another. Max had a second question. Well, I guess actually for that last collaborations question, Andrew or Yenwan, do you want to add anything on that?
I would only add that we're ecosystem building. I mean, any type of relationship or partnership where we can be, have a mutual benefit between us and the other project is something that not only pushes us in a really great direction, but also just the general crypto space and community. So we're not really picky when it comes to trying to find that relationship. It's just a matter of trying to create the best possible partnership and relationship there.
All right, so Max Perlo's second question is what position or what I guess his question is, what are our plans for this project for the next 5 years, or where do we see ourselves in 5 years? Obviously, the ideal situation is that we will be the next Binance or the next FTX in 5 years, but who knows? Like 5 years in DeFi DeFi has only really been a serious thing for about 2 years, so and barely, more like a year and a half. So 5 years is a bit hard to guess. Any of the Yenwan or anyone else have any thoughts about our 5-year plan?
Yes. I don't know about 5 years, but more like long-term goal is just, be that DeFi Lago. When people want to leverage, they come to Perpetual Protocol. If they want to build a product, they want to optimize for their capital efficiency, they go to perpetual protocol. So we just want to be that building block. I think we are at a really good, position right now. From like a composability point of view, I think we are one of the most like composable ones. We are running on the public ETH chain, and then everything is on chain, so we don't really have a lot of like off-chain component. But yeah, I think that's definitely our goal for long term.
All right. The next question we have is, will Purp add UST in the future for collateral? And the answer is it's yes, right? We will be adding UST at some point.
Yes.
We have a question from a power user, Neil Taylor. A lot of you probably have seen Neil Taylor around helping us in Discord. He's a really amazing help to the project. Thanks so much, Neil Taylor. He says, you guys mentioned shorting ETH with ETH in the multi-collateral release article to collect funding without the risk of liquidation. But can't you get liquidated as the price of ETH goes up and your USDC debt reaches the 10K or 75% of your ETH collateral value? So that's a very interesting question. Yewan, are you able to answer that?
Sure, of course. So for this situation, you will not get liquid. So the first thing is that you have to have equal. Not equal size. Your deposit is on ETH, and then you open a short position. It has to be like equal size, of your spot. Position, and also your futures perpetual position. Once you have that, you will not get liquidated, because once you actually like ETH go up like 1%, you earn money on the spot market, but you actually lost money on the perpetual market. It will even out. So we keep track of the total value of your collateral, which is your spot market asset, and also the perpetual side, and then we will combine them together, just add it up. So totally you will have like zero P&L. Yeah. So that's why you will not get liquidated. Yeah.
All right. So it sounds like the really key thing is to make sure that the size of your perpetual position is the same as the spot, your collateral. And I'm guessing you would have to take into consideration the weight of the collateral.
No, you don't. Oh yeah, you should.
Yeah. Okay.
No, actually you don't. You kind of like you need to take into consideration. But if you put in like 1 ETH, you can use that. Okay, yeah. Actually, you should. You're right. So you put in one. You have to put in more than 1 ETH, and then you can. No, actually. Okay, you don't, because you can put in 1 ETH, and then it's collateralization ratio is like 85%, but you can actually open like more than 1x of the short position. So you just want to make sure that you have 1 ETH and also 1 short position of ETH. So I think that's it. Yeah. So mostly, you will not hit that collateralization ratio in this situation if you want to do just like funding rate arbitrage. But so one small thing is that you still need to have, you better to have like some USDC set aside, because the funding rate, like once it's positive, you earn funding rate, but once it go into a negative, you might pay out. So you need to have like some USDC in your account. Paying out, funding is still using USDC.
Okay. Yeah. Excellent question and great answer, Yewan. Thanks for that. It's definitely not an easy question, but we'd expect no less from Neil Taylor. So thanks so much. All right. I'll just that's the end of the questions we have from Discord. I'll just go back to YouTube to see if there's any more action here. Okay, I see there's some people have maybe some issue with the verification pod. It says you are now verified. So what is next? What is next is to go to the, if you after you verify, you will then see another channel, which is called NFT whitelist. So go to the NFT whitelist and post your address in there, and we'll add you to the whitelist for the NFT. All right. So the last question I see we have is, what if I use ETH to collateralize and I put ETH long and then the ETH price goes down? So yeah, that would be sort of a nightmare scenario that you don't want to happen.
Yeah.
That means the value of your collateral is going down and the value of your perpetual contract position is going down as well. Would that count as an inverse perp at that point, like a non-linear perp?
Yes. So it's more like that. I mean, if you trade on like BMAX before, I mean, BMAX you actually use Bitcoin, so you have this like once you know, if you're short, you actually become a stable coin. If you're long, actually just like this, you have like you kind of like have that double effect. So once you're long and then the price goes down, I mean, from a USD point of view, you actually hurt a lot. Yeah. So be careful about that. But of course, that which also means that you have a lot of confidence in ETH. So maybe you just want to do this. Yeah, that's also a strategy. Yeah.
Either way, it is definitely not for the faint of heart, and we don't particularly recommend that. But like I say, if you have any questions about this sort of thing, you're welcome to come to our Discord and chat more with us about it. We love this sort of question. And that's about all the time we have today. It's been really great. We had some really excellent questions and some amazing topics that we covered. So thanks again to all our guests. It's been awesome, and looking forward to next time in 2 weeks. Okay, we are off.